Hi, you're tuning to AWANI Review with me, Cynthia Ng. Today we are featuring Foodie Media, which started with a simple idea that is to share food content online. Now, the company runs 36 brands across Malaysia and the region, covering lifestyle, travel, content as well and more. And it has recently hit another milestone. The company listed on Bursa Malaysia's ACE market, raising over 41 million ringgit. Joining me on the show today are the co-founder and CEO, Nicholas Limpin Yang, as well as Rachel Lau. She is the independent non-executive director of the board of Foodie Media. Thank you so much for making time to have a chat with me.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Nicholas, let's start with you. Going public definitely changes the momentum quite a bit for the company and for you personally. So maybe let's talk about how has it been so far.
Everybody here is very excited. The reason behind is now everybody come together, from followers to our investors, to our shareholder right now. Everybody share the same mission, believe in our company, Foodie Media, that we can inspire experiences through all the verticals that we have built through content, new form of economy that not just in Malaysia but across Southeast Asia. So has been very fantastic and amazing journey so far.
Okay, and how much does the decision making still run through you now that you're a publicly listed company?
Yeah, so every single day as a CEO of the company, I do many decisions, right? Should we do this? Should we do that? Since day one, right? But now a bigger point of decision, then we go to the board. But for now, as a day-to-day operation, me and my co-founder still make the major decision.
Okay, all right. Now I'll turn to Rachel as a non-independent board member here. What excites you about the company? Because if you look at media industry, it's facing some pretty big headwinds. If you look at ad spending, it's falling. Audiences are scattered everywhere, and turning clicks into revenue is getting harder than ever. So what's your take on this?
I think the growth from traditional media has gone into digital media. The eyeballs have now shifted from what traditional movies and media to fast-moving bite-sized media is obviously growing. We've seen monetization in good Foodie Media and much more growth coming our way across different verticals. The reality of it is content is changing, and the way people are consuming content has changed. Pin Yang is the ample example. He's young, he's vibrant, he's engaging, versus old traditional media, which kind of caters to the same crowd and not having any differentiation. We were very encouraged with the growth across the board.
Okay, can you talk to us about the growth? Give us an insight.
Yeah, 2024 we did 37 million in 2024. No, so 2024 we did about 21 million. 2025 we did 37 million. And for new financial year, we are seeing very healthy growth, a big jump in revenue.
What's the projection?
Double-digit growth. We always want to be very safe in our projection, but over-promise. Don't want to be over-promised, but over-delivered in our result. So we have done our Q1, and it has been great so far. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to take a step back for people who may not know Foodie Media. So I think a lot of us, at least Malaysians, know Penang Foodie. That was the beginning of it, right?
Yeah.
The start of the company. What is the company now then? What do you do exactly? Are you a content creator company? Are you a media network? Or are you an e-commerce enabler? Because I understand you also have live streaming, selling products online.
We started Penang Foodie as a food recommendation site, a social media page to tell people what to eat. Then we expanded to another 36 over brands right now, reaching millions of people on a monthly basis. But Foodie Media today, we are not just a social media page, we are a social media agency. So we are helping our brand right now, not just in content, but also in creator, commerce, and community. I will add on what is that. So firstly, content. So we are leveraging our 37 brand right now, from Penang Foodie, KL Foodie, from food vertical to property vertical to travel vertical, even automotive and tech vertical. That we are going to serve day to day, what to eat, what to do, what to buy, helping them make a better decision in their lifestyle. So for that, after that, leveraging the IP that we have, 46 over million followers, we can now then not just do a content, the awareness part, we do commerce as well.
Okay.
And we are very digital focused. We do live streaming commerce on TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah, so helping brand, not just telling the awareness part, but convert the trust, have a trust built and convert them immediately on social. That's under the commerce pillar. And then we have celebrity, but now content creator economy is growing. Everybody with phone, share their passion online, can make good money. So we also want to help them.
Okay.
We don't see them as competitors.
So are you saying evolving to become a talent agency even?
Yeah, as an agency, digital media agency. So helping them, allowing the content creator, be it any vertical, property content creator, finance content creator, food content creator, can come to our platform to shine. Okay. So they can do a collaborator post on KL Foodie, Halal Foodie. So think of us like a channel, right? So they can come here, leveraging on our followers. Then we can also upsell them to our clients. So before we only can get media plan, but right now we're also getting content creator plan. So from media publisher side and KOL side, we also get the revenue. So that revenue has grown for the past year about 4 times. So we are seeing that's gonna grow because the trust have built using our content form. We have many clients that are very interested to actually work with us, not just content but creator. One example was Haiti Go Halal. So Halal Foodie is there to serve the client, to tell the story, but we also help them to reach out a lot of content creators, 60 of them, to help to tell the story of Haiti now is halal. Okay. Lastly will be community. So by leveraging on our IP, KL Foodie Festival, we want to also touch base the experiences, not just online, but offline. So yeah, we are very excited about community events.
So 41 million ringgit raised on the market, and where is that money really going? So I understand you have about 80 people today, and you're planning to ramp them up to what? How many?
190 in 3 years' time.
In 3 years' time.
Yeah.
And who are these people? Are they content creators, as the one you mentioned earlier?
Yes.
Well,
yeah. So content is still our core. We want to hire more empowered content creative people in Malaysia and Southeast Asia. We want to hire them. So over the next 3 years, we want to hire more content creators, not just food vertical, but all around vertical. It can be beauty, fashion, financial, luxurious, and even wellness. Okay. So we want to grow into other vertical quickly and scale that up.
So is this about, the strategy is to increase volume and to churn content, or it appears to me that you're just trying to get more content out there?
Yeah, so let's face it, right now it's very interest-based media, right? And we are very successful today because we are very niche focused. And we started for food, and KL Foodie, Halal Foodie, Penang Foodie, Johor Foodie, Sabah Foodie, all are doing really well. So last 2 years, 98% are coming from food vertical. Okay. But Foodie Media today, food just is about 65% of revenue. So we want to churn out and grow other vertical because the digital index in other category is also very high. Okay. Tech category, automotive category, fashion category are still very high. So not just churning out per se, but we want to serve that in other vertical, right? We are seeing a big gap that other media is not performing well in tech, in fashion, in that, right? So when we first started out, a lot of people are in food blogger scene where they talk about food, but KL Foodie managed to do it because it's our creativity and our content. So we want to do that in other verticals as well. Okay.
Now I want to bring Rachel in your perspective. You mentioned about doing more live streaming and that sort, but short form video, live commerce, you're competing in a very competitive space because you're not just going up against other media outlets, you're going up against global tech platforms as well. So how do you see Foodie Media building a defensible ground rather than just keeping up with these majors?
I think first of all, again, it's just content and what sort of content you're delivering, right? It's quality of content. I think that's the first thing that we've done really well. But also then it's what people are consuming. We understand our target market really well. We've got about 41 million followers. Is that correct?
46 now.
46 now. Okay. So 46 million followers. We've got the data. The one good thing about being also a tech company and not just a media company is that we understand the user. We have the data and the stats to what people are consuming, where they're stopping, and where they get turned off, where they get interested, and they kind of zoom in a little bit more. I think that data is very helpful. We talk a lot about media, and people think that we just do live content for the fact of it. But again, there's a lot of methods to kind of engaging consumers or our eyeballs and kind of retaining the eyeballs. And then when we talk about branded content, for example, and that's obviously where some of the ad spends you talk about declining, I think having a targeted message by Foodie Media for the brands is very helpful. A lot of people lose and tell the brand story, but not realizing that people have lost interest after second 4, for example. I think because our content is bite-sized, when people are interested, when people kind of swipe away, you can kind of do more to kind of engage and kind of be a bit smarter about content. So that's probably the biggest differentiation. We actually have a lot of data that we are able to utilize, and we haven't talked about it because, again, people think about this as a media company, but in reality, this is also a tech company. So if you look at the valuations that come with Foodie Media, and I think one of the things, obviously, on the pushback is why is the valuation so high for a digital media business versus the traditional business? The reality of it is we've got data, we've able to capitalize it and utilize it and monetize it, right? And I think that is the key versus the rest of the media outlets right now.
I do want to point out that there seems to be a heavy reliance on third-party platforms and their algorithms, right? So does it worry you? How exposed are you? Let's say if TikTok or Facebook changes the algorithm overnight.
So we started Penang Foodie as a side hustle back in 2016. So that time, obviously, article is performing really well, right? But the platform had changed. We also adapt. So we are very alert and very sensitive about every platform change. And the good thing is we work closely with platforms. So Meta, TikTok, we are very good partners. And whenever there's new changes, it's actually good for the consumer, right? So we are there always, very spearheading, changing, also adapting what the consumer like. So essentially, we as a company, we also have to see what our consumer, what our follower like to see. No point we stay back in the article, in Square Video, but because the platform, consumer behavior changed, and we are not worried because our people are very young, very vibrant. They always are very creative. Whenever there's new changes, we adapt and serve our consumer first, because we think consumer experience is very important for us. Then we know if we serve that well, our client base will be increasing. So we are not worried. Because we have witnessed many changes since 2016.
Okay.
What
does it worry you?
The ability to kind of pivot has been, the stronghold of the business. Back in the days, that was Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We were talking about X, then Threads, and then TikTok. I don't think it'll be an end-all, be-all. I think the reality of it is not only we have our followers on IG, we also have them on TikTok, and I think that evolution of the company has kind of shown why it has succeeded over the years. I do think we're also looking to build our own platform, and I think that's something that's very important, just getting other distribution channels out there. But the reality of it, if you look at the number of eyeballs on TV versus TikTok, I think you can kind of see where the shift is happening. Is TikTok the last media outlet? I think you and I can agree that it won't be, and there will be probably another competitor in the next 10, 20 years. How long it lasts, we don't know. But I think what Foodie Media has been able to do is kind of been able to capture that growth and that trend every single time, right? And I do think that, in Malaysia, for example, there's been a lot of people kind of saying that digital doesn't work. It's actually, if you look at the trends, I think there's, I think people don't watch TV anymore. They're not on newspapers. They've just gone on consuming on digital. And again, the forms of digital will change. But again, we should be able to adapt. And be flexible.
I do want to talk a bit about the concentration of your business. So last checked, I think most of your revenue still comes from Malaysia. I think 95%, 70% from F&B, which you've talked about diversifying into other content verticals. Overseas operations, 5%. So talk about that. Are you planning to increase that? And is it something that could genuinely move the needle, or is more of like a long-term hedge? What's the plan here?
For the next 2 years, our focus is going to be heavily in Malaysia. So most of the proceeds raised from the IPO, we want to grow further in Malaysia. The reason is the digital index in Malaysia is still very high, 2.5 billion over ringgit in an annual basis. We are just across 1%. So we want to be there serving our consumer more, serving our client more, serving really well, be the one when putting about digital media in Malaysia first. But overseas markets are profitable. we are going to hire more people just to make sure it's growing at the same time. But once Malaysia is the one in Malaysia, the number one in content, in commerce, in creator and community, then we will duplicate that success across the region. Yeah.
Do you have the same view? Do you think there should be more bullish on overseas, or do you think Malaysia
I
is
think
still
definitely,
place?
right? I mean, we're the first Southeast Asia digital media IPO, and it's been extremely successful. This kind of gives a lot of thoughts to the rest of the influencers in the markets, or it's good news for media and tech, right? From that standpoint, I think Foodie has definitely demonstrated itself in Malaysia, and Malaysia obviously is the chairman for ASEAN Summit this year. And you can kind of see that, we're in the forefront of pushing ASEAN as a whole. And I think we're the leaders. I think our success over the states, over the different demographics have obviously shown the strength in the business. And I do, I'm very bullish in the Southeast Asian markets as a whole. It's very similar demographics, to be fair, in terms of age, in terms of profiles, in terms of the way they consume media and content, obviously. And so, yes, I am very bullish and very hopeful on where the growth of the business is. But again, I think I also want to attest to, Pin Young and his team and the ability to kind of grow with the times.
Okay. Now, you've mentioned plenty of plans for Foodie Media and stretching into other verticals. I do wonder, do you worry about stretching yourself out? I mean, maybe a bit too thin because of all the other things that you're planning to do. I'm just trying to get a sense of, your growth trajectory, right? What is this? What is sustainable? Because we're looking at investors, they're looking at sustainability.
Yeah. Definitely very positive because we have a great team in the company. So I myself, I don't do the content anymore. I'm in the management side, getting more clients for the company, for the group, with the front face, just sharing the idea behind Foodie Media. But we're great teams. So Foodie Media, we have a vibrant of 50 old editors. So we rely on them to do day-to-day content. And we're going to hire more and more people that share the same mission for Malaysia and Southeast Asia. So we're not too worried. And when we do the hiring, many people apply. So in other verticals that want to grow, in fashion, car, in tech, many people apply. So we are very positive. That
and are you looking to work to have your own original content and team, or are you looking to work with other brands as well in terms of expanding that?
All the 30 over brands are self-built from zero. So we have done that before. We can do it once again. And we are a builder.
So that's the plan, to do it on your own?
Yes. All the media they want to build. Yes, so Malaysia Homey Property Media is built from ground zero, right? But if there is a potential for a new media that we think they are doing really well, but they didn't communicate well to the brand, we want to help them. So M&A is potentially is a new thing that we want to see because that growth will help us scale faster.
A year or two out, Rachel, what does success look like to you for Foodie Media? Just give us a sense of a long-term, what do you see long-term?
I guess, one, going to different verticals and being successful in the verticals is helpful. We've obviously ventured, to your point, into other verticals. We're very early stage, and obviously having able to kind of stabilize that business would be helpful. That kind of also then will be able to contribute to the growth and earnings of the business. I think different footprints across Southeast Asia will be helpful. We still need to cement ourselves as the number one Southeast Asia and not just Malaysia. I think that's something very helpful for the business, and again for a success story for Malaysia as a whole. Number three is obviously we've got to be more all-rounded in the way that we develop ourselves as a business, right? We cannot only rely on one vertical, one country, one person. It has to be a holistic growth altogether. But again, strategically on the board level, we're very hopeful in the team and very positive on what the management has delivered over the last couple of years. Certainly that growth was not something we expected when we first met how many years ago?
Well, a few years ago.
Yeah. So I think that was probably the
2021.
Yeah. So 4 years, the growth has been phenomenal over the last 4 years, at a time where everybody's been very negative on media and tech, especially in Southeast Asia. So having a standout like Foodie is obviously a testament not just to the management team, but that the country has a lot of good businesses that can be supported and that should be supported, right? Especially by funders. I am hopeful again, that we will grow very holistically. And I think in short, where success is if we become #1 in Southeast Asia and cement ourselves there.
Now, if you're looking at the markets, seem to have quite an optimism. So since you've listed a couple of weeks ago at 30 cents, it's now I think up about to 43.5 cents. So that's quite a big jump. Does that raise the bar for execution in the coming year? How do you feel about that? I mean, it's great, but
yeah,
personally
feel great,
for you,
right? So, as a CEO of the company, my main day-to-day is to drive the business and communicate clearly that mission to our people, and also get more sales for the company. That's really my day-to-day now. And going listed, it gives me more confidence to talk to brands, and more PLC also reach out to us for collaborations. So that's really great.
So I want to stay on you just for a few minutes because you were a content creator, you were an influencer, and now you're running a publicly listed company. That switch for you, how has it been?
Yeah.
What are the biggest lessons takeaways that you have gained?
Yeah. So we started the company in 2016, 2018 in Sunil Bahat. I was really behind the scene, right? Nobody know Penang was behind Penang Foodie, KL Foodie doing all the review. But 2023, I started to be the face of the company. I started my content creator journey simply because we want to help content creator in Malaysia and Southeast Asia to create more brands. So in order to do it, I want to show the people I'm the face, the trust I have built. Want to help local content creator, be small, micro, macro, mega, and it has been a great journey so far. I believe the company today, as a PLC company, if you look at Mark Zuckerberg from Meta, Elon Musk from Tesla, people trust more and more transparency there, and we want a connection. As a PLC CEO, as company founder, we want to be there, facing not just the consumer but the investor on a more airtime basis lah. So yeah, this is what I want to build as a company, be the face of the company, build trust, build confidence, so that more brand is knowing that actually Penang is behind KL Foodie, Penang Foodie. Okay, why not we give them more partnership? Yeah, so I do really see the positive relationship there. People see I'm behind the Foodie Media Berhad. They want to support and give more partnership opportunity there. Okay,
now just a few final minutes that we have, Rachel. So just earlier I mentioned about how market seems to be quite optimistic about Foodie Media. What would you say are some of the pressure points that could possibly test that confidence, and maybe what are the risks that may worry you as a
global markets have not been the best of forms. When we came in this morning, Hang Seng was down, so that's probably where there's a lot of uncertainty between China and the US political tension. There's wars, which is not great. We haven't settled our trade tariffs, for example.
Yep.
There's a lot of political competition overseas that's coming in, rightly or wrongly. So a lot of factors is external. Internally, I'm pretty positive on the business and very bullish on where we are heading. But again, I think we have to be adaptable and we have to be careful with external forces. And it kind of also correlates with the businesses that we will get or partnerships with the bigger businesses. And so I think for us is, as long as we keep our heads down, we do good work, we kind of keep to the target. We have guided analysts over the months on what we're trying to achieve. That kind of obviously then talks to where our businesses is. And I think if we reach a target, I think we will be rewarded for that consistency, hopefully, and that kind of builds into your sustainability of earnings as well. But again, I think as a whole, Malaysia seems to be in a good place. Bursa has obviously done will do 60 IPOs this year, and of which we were told that 16 IPOs were positive this year. But again, I think 60 IPOs in Bursa is probably one of the most in the region. I was told in I shouldn't name countries, but in some Middle Eastern countries, there's 0 IPOs. In our neighboring city, there is a quarter of what we did. And so again, I think we should be proud of what we've achieved in Malaysia so far, especially Bursa. And I think having seen the momentum in the country this year, I believe that it will be growing the same speed and hopefully momentum next year too.
All right, okay. Well, thank you so much, Rachel and Pin Young, for sharing your insights, and best of luck to you and your team at Foodie Media.
Thank you.
Thank you.